Hey, I'm Vere,
I'm Emma.
and we are S.E. Tolsen, the writers of Bunny.
Bunny is set in the 90s and in pre-COVID times, and it flips between those two time frames. It's set in New England, which is a very Lovecraftian setting. So we have Silas, who is our antagonist, who is an aspiring screenwriter on the verge of literary success, and our antagonist, Aunt Bunny, who is an alcoholic, hedonistic, and lives in the woods.
There was a particular moment when we saw somebody who was struggling with alcoholism, and they were talking to a point just above their head, and we sort of said to each other, what would happen if that point was talking back to them? And so we used that as a spot to jump off and explore the effect that alcoholism has on the family unit, up and down generations, the psychology of children involved in that environment, and just that feeling that sometimes addiction almost behaves as if it's an outside force that is making people do things, and in our story, what if it is or isn't?
We really tried to create suspense and fear throughout the book by writing in first person present tense, so the book runs very fast. We wanted it to really feel like you're on a bullet train when you're on it, and this is the type of novel we hope people will buy and finish in one weekend. Our antagonist is an unhinged female character, which we absolutely love and got a lot of inspiration from Gothic thrillers from. There's constant rising action and dramatic irony where the audience the reader is aware of key plot points and scenarios that the characters have no clue about.
No, we actually had a lot of fun. It was really a wonderful experience. No, it was, because you write something and then you get instant feedback when someone else reads it who you trust and you already have a relationship with.
And no one's going to be more honest than your partner.
Yeah. Sometimes you're almost too honest, but then you also have this wonderful shorthand where you can just kind of like write a swear word down, and you go, okay, I understand what they mean by that. So it was really good to constantly, I think, challenge each other, and hopefully that has elevated our work together to where it wouldn't have been if we had written this sort of alone.
So my most irrational fear is spontaneously combusting. I saw a thing about it when I was a kid, and it's freaked me out.
That was a thing in like the 90s, where there were a lot of documentaries
a
about
lot of people
yeah,
were concerned about spontaneously combusting, and
the science behind it.
There were a lot of kids who avoided being near matches, and I was one of them.
I have to say my most irrational fear is something that I do every time I go into a movie theatre. I have to turn the light on my phone on, and I check my seat for hypodermic needles before I sit down. I don't know why I do that, but
that was a thing once.
Yeah, maybe that was also a thing.
Yeah,
so I don't know, that's pretty irrational.
I think someone did that in the early 2000s. My favourite horror novels are Zombie by I.S. Bell, a Kiwi writer. Also Turn of the Screw by Henry James, classic, amazing, brilliant. Favourite horror film, Suspiria by Luca Guadagnino, the more recent one.
One of my favourite horror movies, and they change all the time, but The Taking of Deborah Logan is an amazing found footage horror film. Even if you don't like found footage films, it's got everything. Please watch it. Most terrifying female antagonist ever.
Apart from Bunny.
Yeah, great. Apart from Bunny. My favourite horror book would probably be the first one of the first horror books that I read, which is called The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks. I got told to read it by a very, very sick teacher when I was way too young, and 11, 12-year-old me was kind of permanently scarred by a certain scene in there. Highly, highly recommended if you like weird psychological horror thrillers.
Bunny is out in June at all good bookstores and online.